song, one more song. We will sing one more song till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
Good to be with you. It's moving. It was moving to walk in the middle of, just as Marlin was beginning to tell his story. I imagine that you weren't expecting to hear Marlin tell a story like that this morning. No. But I would say that Marlin's courage in telling us that story this morning is a giant step forward. Is a giant step forward into building and creating this world that we imagine and dream of living in together. So thank you, Marlin, for having to tell the courage and the wisdom and the insight, all the skills of a great leader to know, to model for us this truth that we turn away from because it's so difficult. That this truth that telling our stories is sacred work. And listening to each other's stories is also sacred and holy work. It's holy work because it's healing work. Listening, as you just did, to someone else's story is a way to heal them, to hear them into their own wholeness, that God-given gift we have, which is our wholeness, but which we lose. We lose sight of, we lose our full embodiment of for so many different reasons. And as I thought about it, I realized that this week, really, we've all been listening intently to very, very, very painful stories. And I imagine that our listening is not just a way of becoming incredibly frustrated and angry, because I know that's happening too, but our listening is a way that we're contributing to the healing of this nation we call the United States of America. Our listening is a way of healing our country, no matter what the headlines are shouting out at us or will be shouting out at us in this coming week. No matter what the short-term outcome is, this profound listening that's happening is healing us individually and collectively. Just the way we feel our world changing right here, right now, because of Marlin's courage. The world is changing because more and more of us are daring to speak our truth, even when it's risky, no matter who we are, no matter if we're women or men or transgender or non-binary or powerful or powerless. The more of us who tell our true stories, the more the world is changing. I've said it before and I still believe it, and so I'm going to say it again this morning. I know you know this too, because my freedom and my liberation is tied up with your freedom and your liberation. Until all of us are free, none of us are free. Which means that another part of creating a new world also involves the telling of stories by the people who have committed atrocious acts of violence. And I imagine you didn't expect to hear anyone name or talk about that this morning either. But the truth is, as a minister, I've had people come to me to talk about the ways that they've harmed other people. And those have probably been the hardest conversations I've had. They're probably the hardest work I'll ever do as a minister. And I want to be clear before I say any more about this. I want to be really clear that it's never the role or responsibility of a survivor to listen to stories from abusers. Never. But at the same time, there need to be people and there need to be places where abusers can tell their stories, can let go of their secrets, so that healing can begin to happen there too, and in those families too, because those people belong to our families. This, what I'm talking about, is part of the genius of Archbishop Desmond Tutu and part of the work he was able to do in South Africa in the truth and reconciliation work that they did. They created a system in South Africa in which perpetrators of unspeakable acts were granted amnesty because they knew it was more important for the community to know the truth of what had happened than to inflict punishment on anyone or to exact or demand revenge. They knew that people needed to know what had happened to their husbands and sons and brothers and lovers and sisters and wives and mothers. They needed to know the truth, because the truth is what heals us, even when the truth is horrible beyond belief. And one of the things that makes it hard for the truth to be told today in our current society the way it is, because we are living in very litigious, polarized times. And the consequences of speaking the truth often stop people from telling their own stories and keep them imprisoned in their pain. And really shocking to me and heartbreaking to me in the work that I've done here in Tulsa is that because of this climate of litigation and fear, even counselors, it prevents even counselors from wanting to offer therapy to offenders. It was so shocking and disheartening for me to learn, to have counselors refuse to see offenders. Which makes me all the more impressed and moved and amazed, really, by the work the Men of All Souls are doing right now in this congregation. If you don't know about the work the Men of All Souls are doing, you need to know, and I hope it will lift your spirits as we head into this next week, which we know will be difficult to bear. They are intentionally coming together to study the history of patriarchy and misogyny in this country and around the world. They're examining their own lives and their own consciences. They're teaching themselves about the history of abuse, learning about abuse in their own lives, and maybe most amazingly of all, they're actually sitting down and listening to the stories of real women tell their real stories so that they can learn and more deeply understand what it means and what it feels like to be a woman in this world. And this morning, I'm also moved and uplifted by the fact that women have begun talking more openly about the need for a Women of All Souls group in this congregation, because we also have work to do. Who else, with whom else, will we begin to examine our own internalized sexism and the ways we've been trained and taught to compete with each other, to turn away from each other, and the way we've betrayed other women in our own lives? So outside in the lobby, there's not just a sign-up sheet for the men today, there's a sign-up sheet for the women, because if we want to build this world that we dream of living in, women, we have some work to do too. And before I close, I want to say just a little bit, I want to tell you a story actually about the healing power of music and movement and ritual, and how important that is as we each take the next step on our own journeys of healing, the next step towards telling the story that we may need to tell or share or listen to depending on who you are. This story is told by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, a pioneer in body healing therapies. The book is called The Body Keeps the Score: Mind and Body in the Healing of Trauma. And he writes, "The healing power of community as expressed in music and rhythms was brought home for me in the spring of 1997 when I was following the work of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. In some places we visited, terrible violence was going on. Still. And one day I attended a group for rape survivors in the courtyard of a clinic in a township outside of Johannesburg. We could hear the sound of bullets firing in the distance and the clouds of smoke billowing over the walls of the compound and the smells of tear gas in the air around us. Later that day, we heard that 40 people had been killed. Yet while the surroundings were foreign and terrifying, the doctor recognized the group he was with all too well. The women sat slumped over, sad and frozen, like so many rape therapy groups I had seen in Boston. I felt a familiar sense of helplessness, he writes, and surrounded by collapsed people, I felt myself beginning to mentally collapse too. Then one of the women started to hum. And as she hummed, she started gently swaying back and forth. And as she swayed back and forth, slowly other women joined her. And soon the women were humming and swaying and standing and moving and even dancing. It was an astounding transformation. The women came back to life. He described how their faces became attuned to their own emotions and their own experiences and how vitality returned into their bodies. He says, I made a vow in that moment to apply what I was seeing there and to study how rhythm, chanting, and movement can help to heal trauma. And I say to you this morning, especially those of you who are in this service and have received for years or for weeks or maybe only on this Sunday, Pastor Smith's healing ministries, that's why we're here. That's why we come together into this place, is to receive that kind of healing. This is a place we come to tell our stories. This is a place we come to have people listen to our stories, to believe our stories, to tell us, we're sorry that happened to you. We believe you. It's not your fault. How can I support you? Because that's the work we do here. And when I come here and feel the music and am together with you in community, I know we have what it takes to face and feel all of our true stories, the personal ones and the political ones, and we have the strength and the insight and the courage it takes to heal the pain we're still carrying with us. So I invite you this morning to let the music move you in even deeper than where you've gone before. We're about to join, we're about to move to the music together because you are safe here and you will be supported here. You are supported here. No matter what happens this week and in the weeks to come, after Marlin's courage sharing his story, and after watching you witness and receive and listen to his story, these are counter-cultural stories we are telling each other here this morning. I see signs of the new world emerging. And feeling and seeing those signs, I can say, honestly, that now I am open to, that now I am willing, and that to be hopeless, as tempting as it may be, would seem so strange because it would dishonor those who have gone before us. So lift us up to the light of change. Amen.
For I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is hurting in my family. There is sorrow in my town. There is panic in the nation. There is wailing the whole world round. For I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly. May the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though it burns our eyes. For I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. For I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change.
Hey, we're so happy you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed
and be a blessing.